right, good afternoon. So while everything is set up here, let me come back to what Chris just said with regards to moving up from data to information, to knowledge and to wisdom, and I couldn't agree with you more completely. And I have an example here that I like to use when talking about these concepts specifically, and that is knowledge. Knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing that you don't put it into a fruit salad. So, today I would like to focus on the financial sector and the financial sector usage of language technology. So let me first start with what are the financial sector classes of threats that they see every day. And I do agree and I do acknowledge that my list here is not a complete one, but let's take that as the list for today. So financial sector institutions, particularly banks, have approached my company, Sale Labs, because they have experienced a set of threats to their security, which includes financial threats, physical threats, that is the branch security, travel security of their employees, and the security of their board members. So regarding branch security, just imagine the Bank of America or Wells Fargo branches in Baltimore or in Ferguson, Missouri recently, and you will understand that these kind of things do become an issue more and more. Looking at the European arena, we have, particularly in Austria, my company is located in Vienna, so we have a lot of experience in this regard. A lot of the European banks have exposures in Eastern Europe, in the Ukraine and other countries, and they do face those physical security issues I'm talking about. In addition to that, we are seeing non-physical security issues like the screening of personnel before it is accepted in a bank. The whole area of public relations, anti-money laundering, and of course, credit worthiness. So you may ask, what exactly does language technology have to do with risk and security? And the answer is actually quite a lot. We have talked today, when we talk about language technology, about machine translation. And we've heard the term machine translation over and over again, but we define language technology as a lot more than just machine translation. So we also believe that together with language technology, one should mention the term automatic speech recognition, named entity detection, social media analytics, summarization of longer stories, segmentation. Segmentation comes together with speech recognition. Just imagine you have a broadcast on one of the news channels on TV, like CNN, and obviously they don't tell you, now we start talking about weather, now we start talking about foreign policy, and now the next is about social issues. They're just talking about it, and there needs to be a software that automatically segments the individual parts into pieces. We are also talking about ontologies and sentiment analysis. All of this can, to some stage, be done automatically already, and we heard today several times that 80% is enough. And I do agree full-heartedly. So let me go back to the financial sector and to their risk assessment. So the analytics and the assessment of risk and threats require what banks tell me is a deep insight into companies, into persons and locations. And interestingly, this is also the definition of intelligence. So why do I know this? Is because my company has spent many, many years working for government organizations, particularly in the security domain and in the intelligence field, in order to understand what is called open source intelligence. So we do understand that vis-a-vis a government, the financial sector, a bank, cannot simply employ a couple of spooks. I'm not talking about detectives, I'm talking about the James Bonds of this world. And they also cannot trap wires or send some submarines in order to drill into undersea cables and find out what threats they have. So, what can be done? Tom Clancy said it very nicely. He said, the information is all out there if you go looking for it, and the classified stuff just comes from analyzing the unclassified stuff and connecting the dots. So what can they do? And the answer that governments have detected for themselves is what's called open source intelligence. Now, you see me hesitating a little bit, and that is, I think I'm the first speaker with a video. Actually, we have two of them. And I'm quite curious to see whether all works out, but I have full trust in the technical team, so let's start. It's just 2 minutes.
Open source intelligence means finding, collecting, and selecting information from public available sources, as well as analyzing it to produce actionable intelligence. However, nowadays, an avalanche of unstructured data produced by millions of individuals is flooding the world. Let's take a look at the amount of information produced in one single minute. In social media like Facebook, more than 100 accounts are created, hundreds of messages are sent and shared. Artists, news agencies, and TV channels are generating information constantly. Only in Twitter, there are more than 400,000 messages every minute. Millions of web pages are uploading content to the internet. Trying to control this flow of information through feeds is a tedious task. More than 10,000 news agencies are publishing thousands of news every minute. For example, in YouTube, millions of users are uploading around 100 hours of videos. All the documents that are shared are also OSINT. A countless number of radio stations in a multitude of languages around the world are constantly adding new information. Let's not forget about TV. In Europe alone, there are over 3,000 TV stations broadcasting continuously and adding information wealth in the world. Email boxes that allow people to contribute pictures or reports to breaking news stories can also be OSINT. Managing this constant flow of data is extremely difficult. We take all of the information, never from private sources though. We don't hack, we don't break into any system. Every information we search is from open sources. With all of this, we build our solution. Thanks to Say Labs' OSINT solution, you can monitor media at a global level for different markets and investor relations, filing any data easily. You have thus a real power to anticipate crises, to make the best choices, and implement real changes while saving time and money.
All right. So the banks see that a lot of information is out there, and obviously the first choice is they say, oh, fantastic, we have thousands of people, and actually we can work through this information manually. We have to point out, though, that interestingly, 90% of all the data in the world has been generated over the last 2 years. So this shows how exponentially the data growth is happening. And just when we look here at people taking videos and taking photos with their mobile phones and sharing them over the internet, I presume and hope, this becomes quite obvious that tools are needed. So obviously the first assumption is, oh, fantastic. There's Google out there, I can use Google or Bing or any of those. And it's free after all. So we have to keep in mind that, first of all, Google will show you what you want to see. So if you're a Democrat in America and you're looking for the term Barack Obama, you will find pro-Democrat, pro-Obama websites on the first page of Google. If you are a Republican and Google through your searches understands that you're a Republican, what you will find by entering the exact same search term is anti-Obama and Republican content. So, of course, as a private entity, as a bank, and as a government, really you do not want to see what Google believes that you want to see. You actually want to see a ground truth. Second is, of course, Google decides what sources they index. You have no influence over that. So if you are in an industry that Google decides not to constantly index and not to constantly update, there's nothing you can do really. So they decide how often sources are indexed. Next is, Google is obviously a business and they're making good money. And they sell what they learn about you. So they say, if a product is free, then you are the product. Finally, the results that Google show you is a big list. But do you usually go further than page 1 or 2 or 3? You probably don't. And that shows one of the big weaknesses, namely the ability to visualize the results in a way that it is still understandable and easy to grasp. And finally, Google shows you only the web content. So they do not show you anything that was on TV. They do not show you anything that was on FM radio or on the internet radio, of course. And they show you no or almost no social media. So the question is, what other tools exist there? And I hesitated a little bit to do this last video, but then again, today in the morning, one of our competitors, Autonomy, has been mentioned. So I decided if they have been mentioned, I can just as well mention the Celeb's media mining system as well. And it gives you a little bit of an overview what the media mining system is capable of achieving. Now, I don't want to interrupt the video, and really I cannot because they played from down there, and usually I press the stop button to explain a little bit to the video, so let me do this up front. So what you will see is, in terms of language technology, what you will see is keyword translation, full text machine translation, search term translation, named entity detection, of course speech recognition, social media analytics, and big data visualization. Thank you, and go.
energischer gegen die russische Expansion.
26% unemployment, yet more job and salary.
The world is safer and more just when Europe and America stand as one.
President Barack Obama's trip to Europe. He's due to arrive in Poland in a few hours, where his support for Ukraine's new president is sure to be well received.
البيت الأبيض أن أوباما اقترح مبادرة قيمتها $1,000,000,000 لتمويل نشر قوات أمريكية جوية وبحرية إضافية في شرق أوروبا.
A vision based on representative democracy.
So, thank you so much for your attention.